Okay, so here is 2.3 linear functions and slope. And so this should be something that we should all be familiar with. And so slope of a line is the steepness of the graph. It's the coefficient m of x in this equation, which will be very important right here. And then it's just the ratio of the change in y over the change in x. And so here's our formula right here, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Or you can use rise over run when you're looking at a graph. And we'll use all of these as we move forward. And so here are some different representations of our different slopes that you can get. We can have positive slope, kind of like when we were looking at increasing and decreasing functions. So positive slope because the y value is going up. Negative slope, the y value goes down. Zero slope just basically means that it's not going up or down. And then we have our undefined slope where it's just a vertical line. And we'll look at that a little bit more in depth in a little bit. Okay, so this first part right here says define the slope and then state whether the slope, find the slope bar state if it's undefined, then indicate whether it rises, falls, horizontal, or vertical. So if it rises, it's going to be positive. If it falls, it's negative. If it's horizontal, it's 0, and then vertical would be our undefined slope. Okay, so how does this work? Well, we need to go ahead and label our points. So we can let this one be x1, y1, x2, y2, and then we follow that formula from up above. So m equals y2 minus y1, which was a 7, okay, divided by 8 minus 4. So we end up with 3 over 4. And so that's positive. So here's our slope. And then we would say that it rises. That's how we describe how it looks. Okay? All right, so then our next one, we can let this one be x1, y1. And then we can let this one be x2, y2. So our slope is equal to, let's see, 2 minus 1 over, let's see, 2 minus negative 2. So on bottom, we're actually going to have double negatives. So let's see, on top, 2 minus 1 is just 1. And then on bottom, we're actually going to get 2 plus 2. So we end up getting 1/4. Well, still positive, so we're going to go ahead and put that as rises. All right, so there's those first two. Let's try the next couple. So let's see, number 5, label it x1, y1, x2, y2. So here we go. M is equal to negative 2 minus negative 2 all over 3 minus 4. Well, on top, that's going to actually be negative 2 plus 2. On bottom, we get a negative 1. But the top becomes 0 over negative 1. Okay, so we got to think about that. That's going to go ahead and simplify to a 0. All right. And so then when we have a 0 slope, let's see what we say that 0 slope is going to give us. 0 slope will go ahead and give us horizontal. That's how the line looks when you graph it. Oops. Seems like the pen is acting up a little bit. All right. So that would be horizontal. All right, let's try the last two. All right, so let's see this next one right here. label the points. So let's see, x1, y1, x2, y2. So we're going to get, let's see, -1 minus 4 all over -1. Oh dear. All right. Let's see. Okay, so picking up where this thing kind of messed up. Let's see. So we'll label this x1, y1, x2, y2. So m equals, let's see what we're going to have, -1 minus 4 over -1 minus, oops, don't need that parentheses there. Let's see, there we go. -1 minus a -2. So on top, we're going to 5, okay, all over, let's see, that'll become -1 plus 2. So we get -5 over 1, which can just simplify to a -5. And so since it's negative, if you were to graph it, it would fall. So it falls from left to right if you were to graph that. All right, let's look at this last one. So let's see, x1, y1, x2, y2. So here we go, m equals, let's see, -2 minus 3 all over, let's see, 5 minus 5. Well, this time we get -5 is over 0, so 0 is in the denominator spot this time. And so what's that? That's going to be undefined. So let's see, defined. And so how would that look if we graph it? It'd be a vertical line. Okay. All right, so that's how we find slope of a line. Or, well, yeah, given 2 points. And so let's go ahead and let's see what the next part is. All this stuff in this section really goes together. So let's see. This next part, it looks like we are going to use the formula for slope-intercept form. And so the way slope-intercept form works is, well, the equation gives you the slope, which is the m value, and then the b value is just the y-intercept. So think about it. If you let x equals 0, y is going to be equal to b. And so, anyways, this is really helpful in graphing. So I kind of try to put this in pretty simple terms. So when you graph, the b value would tell you where to begin. So you can plot the y-intercept. And then you can use rise over run, which hopefully we're familiar with. And if not, we'll review it in just a second. So let's go ahead and try a couple of these. So let's see. So coming down here, okay, so looks like our slope is going to be 2. But we can go ahead and write that as 2 over 1, and I'll explain why in a second. And then b is equal to 1, which means that our y-intercept is at 0, 1. Okay? All right, so b will tell us where we can begin to graph this. So we can start at 0, 1. And then the slope is 2. Or I put it as 2 over 1 because then that will allow me to go up 2 over 1 to where I can do the rise over run here. So let's see, up 2 over 1. And if I wanted to, I could actually go in reverse. Down 2, backwards 1, down 2, backwards 1. You really only need 2 points to graph a line. So when you're doing your homework, you just graph 2 points and use the line tool, and it will pop up and you'll be fine. All right, so on the next one, our slope is 3/4. Okay. And our y-intercept is going to be at 0, -2. So let's see, 0, -2 is right here. Then our slope is 3/4. So up 3 over 4, or you could go down 3 and backwards 4. And there we go. It just helps to get a couple extra points when you're graphing these. And there's that one. Okay. So this next one, we get a negative slope. And so it doesn't really matter where you put the negative. I always just put it up top. But you could put it on the bottom if you really want. But I'm going to put it up top. So our y-intercept here is going to be at 0, 7. So 0, 7 is actually going to be a little off my graph, so I'm just going to put it up there. And then the slope's -3/5, so down 3, 1, 2, 3, and then over 5. And that's about all, the only points I'll probably be able to get on here, because anything else is going to be off the graph. So there we go. Okay, the next one, our slope is going to be -1/2, and then our y-intercept here is actually going to be at 0. Because if you think about it, if you let x equal 0, y is going to equal 0. So we're actually going to go ahead and start this graph at 0, 0. And then our slope is down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2, or you could go up 1 and back 2. However you want to do it, but that's probably good enough to go ahead and graph this line. And I know this thing's kind of going a little haywire on me. I apologize. Let's see. You can see it there. I'll probably take a pause in just a second, but there we go. So there it is. So let's see what's coming up next. But like I said, I'll probably take a break and start a new video on this. So, well, we could probably fit this in. This won't take long. We're going to look at the equation for horizontal and vertical lines. So if we look at the horizontal line, it's just going to be y equals a number. So for example, this could be something like, I don't know, y equals 3 right here. Because it's just 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 for y. And so x doesn't really play a role. X is does not affect the line. Then vice versa here, we get x equals a number. So for example, I don't know, maybe this is x equals 4. So x is equal to 4 everywhere, and so the y doesn't really affect that. It just, x is 4, it doesn't matter what y is. Okay, so now we're going to graph a couple of these, and then I'll probably start a new video in just a second. So right here, y equals -2. So it doesn't matter what x is. It doesn't matter what x is. Y is going to be -2. So whether x is 3, y is still -2. Or if x is -2, y is -2. So it doesn't matter what x is, y is always going to be -2. And so you have to at least get 2 points to graph it. So let's see, 3, -2 is right there. And then -2, -2 would be right there. And so, oh dear, let me see, accidentally, I hit something. You need to have 2 points when you're doing your homework to graph it. So that's why I'm practicing that. So we want to make sure we get, oops. Let's see, this thing might be the end of the road for that one, but there we go. Okay. So y equals -2. And so that's how that looks. And the other one is at x equals -3. So wherever x is -3, that's where you're going to get that line. And so once again, you would have to plot 2 points when you're doing your homework. So you're going to have to come up with 2 points and in order to use your line tool to graph that. So sorry that this thing's getting a little jumpy, but anyways.